the suppression of the use of marijuana and of the forces lurking behind it are the most important jobs this department is now engaged in. In 1930, the records on marijuana in the Washington office of the Narcotics Division scarcely filled a small folder like this. Today, they fill cabinets.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Coloradians and everyone that's smart enough to listen from the outside.
It's one of the most amazing plants we've ever discovered.
The pot party, the trippers, the grasshoppers, the hip ones, all gathered in secrecy and flying high as a kite.
I got weed pots.
To be fair, our dogs would love it if I never left the house. But anyways, we're all at our homesteads because Chris has the most infectious disease of the 22nd century and the 21st century. So we're back in the quarantine Zoom, not zone, Zoom. So we have a new episode of Stoned Appetit presented by Pine Melon coming to y'all now. With your host, as always, it's me, Kip. How are you, sick boy?
I'm on the up. This time it really wasn't bad. I'm just a little congested and then just being tired and weak all the time. So, I mean, that's pretty much me every day, but this time it's just a little more.
Maybe it's because you're drinking too much. You need to get on this non-alcoholic kick that I've been on, Chris.
I am on non-alcoholic. That's why your face looks so good. Look at you. Are you
Am I
using a new
glowing?
product? Are you using
I don't have a new product, but I tell you what, I sleep like a rock. So that is an added bonus. Sobriety Watch is now, as you're listening to this, on day 6. Technically, as we're recording, we're on day 5. And I haven't gotten pulled over. I keep waiting for someone to pull me over and be like, whip out that breathalyzer. Let me test. But no dice thus far. On the ones and twos, we got Queen Eve. Evitha, how are you, sister?
So great. Fantastic.
What you been doing? I saw her yesterday, Chris. I gave her a temporary air conditioner, but it turns out it's missing one of the key parts so that she doesn't die from carbon monoxide poisoning. So she's still in her sweat box. I'm sorry,
Eve,
Queen Eve.
I'm pretty sure you've got like a carbon monoxide detector in there. You're good. If it starts going off, just exit the building.
Damage can still be done, though.
It
How
is
high does the level have to get? That's my question.
As someone who recently watched Chernobyl, be careful. Sometimes the odorless will also get you.
It's a
You don't
silent
want.
killer.
It's the silent killer. What I like to do is start one of the pilot lights on my oven just to see how much gas is really in the room. That's one thing I thoroughly recommend for anybody that's curious if they have a gas leak. Also, we are not technicians of any sort, so these are not PSAs, but instead ramblings of incoherent stoners. Let's dive into today's episode. As y'all listen to this, we're in gambling zone. The Olympics are taking care of the dog days of summer. As it's hot as Texas outside, it's not like we want to get out and do too terribly much unless it involves booze, food, or drugs. So when we are inside, at least we'll have something to watch. We're going to talk about some fun Olympic topics, sports we're excited about watching, as well as things that we think we could podium in, aka get a medal, if insert here was an Olympic sport. So Chris and I are going to bring those up. I'm sure if one of the topics was like laying on the couch, Eve would probably be a silver medalist. But all of that, and we have a little tidbit about famous people coming to town at the end of the episode. But let's give a shout out to our sponsors. We mentioned it's hot as fuck outside. Well, don't put your kids in a hot car. Put them into a grocery cart. Tote them around King Supers where it's just gross and the produce sucks. Get them back into a hot car and then drive them home and prepare supper. If you work normal hours, 9 to 5. If you work from home and you don't have the ability to sneak out during your lunch break, you got too many other things to do. Pine Melon is here to help. 2-hour delivery for anybody in the metro area. They have a little map. You plug in your address, bing, bang, boom. You can get the best meats, vegetables, and local fruit that anyone else can have in the city. You don't even have to go down to the farmer's market. You can stay at home and play with your cats. You don't even have to bother because you can get all of those great products right there on Pine Melon. And if you haven't heeded our advice thus far, use promo code STONED on your first order from Pine Melon and get $60 in free groceries, no matter what you're looking for. You can get Wagyu beef. You can get Justin Brunson's inoculated ribeyes, which are immaculate. You can just load up on every vegetable or all the Palisade peaches your heart desires. We don't care what you spend the money on. Buy whatever tickles your pickle and fancies for your family. That's pinemelon.com. They're working with 200 plus local meat purveyors, farmers, grains and mills, businesses across Colorado. Support local, shop with Pine Melon. Speaking of shopping local, you can also put your mind at ease by having a local tax firm. That's why we're excited to be working with Seed Money Consulting, because just because everyone files taxes in the spring, it's because of the work you did in the year prior as to how messy that process will be. If you work with someone like Seed Money Consulting as a small to medium business owner, you are leaving no stone unturned, making sure you're taking advantage of all of the same tax situations that these famous billionaires do. They have a project called CFO in a Box where they can help you with payroll. They can help you with quarterly filings. They can help you with your write-offs and how you can kind of group all of your expenditures into different little subsets. No matter what your business or personal finances may look like, they can help you make sure you don't leave money on the table in 2024. Seed Money Consulting. Sam, Shahab, and the fam are right here in Greenwood Village, just south of Denver. They know the game no matter what city or state you may be in. Reach out to those cats. Tell them we sent you, especially if you work in the hospitality business. Maybe you opened your own food truck. We heard Andy last week talking about the trials and tribulations of dedicating a day or two every week to his accounting. All of those situations can be resolved and take a little bit off of your plate so you can focus on running your business the best that you can. Shout out to our friends over at Seed Money Consulting. All right, Chris, let's talk about it. Let's start with Eve. Eve, what's your favorite Olympic sport? Do you actually watch the Olympics? Do you read Sports Illustrated? Give us your details of how you're going to take in the Olympics over the next 2 weeks.
And don't throw in a Winter Olympic sport.
Okay. I usually wait if like growing up I watched them, but now I just wait if there's like an interesting story or like someone did really well, then I'll just watch it online. But I like watching gymnastics, or I guess figure skating is a winter sport. But yeah, gymnastics.
Nice.
Do you watch the opening ceremony? Or are you
No,
not? No.
I do not care.
That sounds like a Chris Byard thing. As someone who watches the Thanksgiving Day parade, this feels right up Chris's alley that he will be watching the opening ceremonies.
If you did a poll and asked people whether they do or do not watch the Thanksgiving parade, you would get more do's than do nots. I promise you. It's always on the back. It's always in the background. I'm not sitting and watching it.
I'm just saying the same people that watch that are the ones that are like, let's tune in for this year it's going to be a drone show instead of fireworks, just because
80% of our listeners will tune in.
Yes. Okay. So I don't think that's true at all. But at the same time, that's fair. Gymnastics is a great one. There's always a good story, as well as Simone Biles is going to be the most decorated Olympian. At least she's attempting to. I think she'll be competing with the likes of Katie Ledecky over in the ladies' swimming pool, as well as Michael Phelps, who set a litany of records years ago. So that's not a bad one. Chris, which one are you most looking forward to?
I mean, with the Summer Olympics, I gotta go swimming. I mean,
That's fair.
especially and if we want to be really specific, I really like the relays. Like those things get so intense. And like when everybody does a different stroke, that shit is awesome.
The inner medley is
Yes.
fucking legit. You're exactly right. And I don't obviously keep up. Nobody besides Pat 40 actually keeps up with swimming year round or through the years. So I don't know who our like steep competition will be. And I don't even know if we are the alphas in that sport anymore. But I couldn't agree more because it gets so contentious. And in those relays, it's oftentimes like it comes down to the wire really well. And where Eve obviously likes the subjective sports where there's judges and they're like, oh, I give this a 10 and a 9.8, where there's not a clear-cut winner. The
Yeah.
swimming pool, it really separates the adults from the children, and I fucking love it as well. It gets contentious in that pool.
And it's one of those things where like I don't know, maybe I mean I always remember liking that even as a kid, but I think when like hit the water, that was just when it went crazy. And there was so much competition, and it feels like you're really rooting for a team,
It really does. Like
you
we
know?
sit here, we bash the shit out of our country because we want it to be better. But by God, I will be the first one to put on my stupid American headband come this weekend when it gets into one of those, knockdown dragouts. It could be taekwondo or break dancing, which is easily on my pantheon of things I'm very excited to watch this year. Like, I don't give a shit. If we are in it in a competition where we get to flex on another country and it doesn't include like bombs, missiles, or invading folks, I am all fucking in. So, swimming pool, I agree. Michael Phelps really brought that to more prominence. I remember he went against like Ian Thorpe from Australia
Yeah.
down in Greece, and then he competed against the Frogs. The French were really like shit talkers when we were in London. And then I think he kind of he and Lochte kind of set themselves apart in a few different races. But the swimming pool is awesome. One sport I really enjoy, Chris, and you may agree because you played a lot of these same style of sports growing up and also went to school across the pond, handball. We don't really, or water polo. Those were not necessarily super competitive. Like Romania or the Netherlands are going to be the alphas of that sport. It's just brutally entertaining because it's foreign to me. I fucking love that kind of stuff.
And it's crazy. Like water polo, the fact that, they're treading water, like it's not like they're walking on I mean, it's nuts how they can move and keep up like that.
It is so wild. And like they just sub out freely, kind of like hockey does. And then there's the other guys who are just sitting over there, just casually treading, like waiting to go back in. It's like, motherfucker, take a break, drink some
And they
Gatorade.
and they fucking sling that damn ball.
Yeah, they like get themselves up like a goddamn alligator. You know how they use that tail to get themselves
Yeah.
up? It looks like that when they're ready to like get up and throw. They're like, now watch what I do here, and then they get their whole torso out of the water. It's wild. It's
Dude,
fucking wild.
I mean, track and field's up there too. Um, certain races and things like that, but also I kind of like long jump. Like it's kind of cool to see like watch them like speed up and try to like hit it just right. I don't know, that's kind of an off event. Like how do you get into some of these sports? Like
That
Eve,
is a
Eve,
go for it.
besides field hockey, did you ever like pole vault or do anything like that?
Nope, I did not.
Do you know anybody that did? Do they have that stuff up in Maine?
Yeah, I mean, I knew a lot of cross country people,
Yeah.
but I think we had pole vaulting, but I don't know.
I feel like maybe some of these sports are like if you go to boarding school, they have those kind of options. Because
That's
I
very
mean,
big. Lacrosse is in that, and rowing. It's all like Ivy League sports, like that came over from the old country, like Chris's people from Barrister land. That's very much in that camp. Which leads me to the question of Chris, of those sports, which one do you think you could be competitive in? If you were like, if you dedicated your time and effort and you had like one of those fathers that like woke you up at the ass crack of dawn and was like, we got to go practice. What sport do you think you would you'd have the best chance to represent our country? You wouldn't have to podium, but like, what would you have the best chance of competing in?
yeah, like if I were an Olympian,
Yeah. What
I would,
sport do you think you would thrive best in?
I don't know, maybe swimming.
I mean, you have a long torso as well.
Yeah.
You could, you'd have to shave your head or do something. You have to put all that bun up under one of those little Jimmy caps. But that's not a bad one. The problem is that one's a very competitive sport. I came
Archer.
up with archery is not a bad one. There you go. As a hunter gatherer, that archery should be led by a bunch of kids that went to Alabama and Texas A&M. That's a fact. Bunch of like just Mississippi State Bulldogs out there. They're like, well, hell yeah, I shot this whitetail from 450 yards with this. I can easily hit that red dot from 250. That one, I feel like that one's fair. I thought of a couple. I think table tennis, while we wouldn't podium because some of those countries from like the Far East are very fucking good. Like it, not like to be stereotypical, but the Chinese team, like I watched videos of them, they're like stepping over like fences behind the table and making it back across. But I grew up a hell of a ping pong player and I can still hold my own if I'm over at like ace serve. I'll beat the brakes off of some folks. So I was thinking table tennis would be a viable option for myself. And then here's another one, Chris, that I think a lot of folks are going to sleep on: trampoline. Trampoline. I think I could do pretty well on a trampoline.
Hold on, is that a new addition?
I think they had it in the last Olympics
You'd
because I
fuck up
remember
your
watching.
knee.
I mean,
Ooh.
You'd hurt yourself so quick.
okay, Miss Eve, what sport do you think you would be competitive or you would have your best chance at? And why is it rhythmic gymnastics?
See, I'm not cocky enough to be like, oh, I even have a chance.
Do
Well,
it.
it's a hypothetical, Eve.
Maybe field hockey if I stuck with it.
Oh, so Eve is a field hockeyer.
You know what? I just found a new sport which maybe I could medal in.
What are you thinking, Chris? What is it, like picking your nose on air?
No, I haven't done that. I usually turn the camera off most times. Um, it is the marathon race walk mixed relay. I mean, I'm a hell of a walker. Like I'm not a slow walker and I can literally walk for days. So I got the endurance. I think I could post good numbers there.
And you've probably got the gait for it because you're a longer being, in the
Yeah.
same vein as swimming. But yeah, I think the rules on that one is you always have to have a foot on the ground. And the only reason I know this is because I will gamble on all of them.
Because
Fucking love it.
you just got to be picking them up, putting them down. Um, I think I could do
It's
it.
just like the vibe I put out.
Also, there's men's artistic swimming is new this year.
I don't even know what that entails, but I'm not artistic in any stretch of the imagination. I mean, even when it comes to plating, fine dining, I could never be on like Expo. Like be like, this fuck face keeps messing everything up. There's nothing artistic about anything I can do except for say the C word casually on social media.
Hey, wasn't there some instance in the last one about like one of our skateboarders? Like, can they can't like wear like music headphones or something? I can't
Oh, is
remember.
that the classic IOC drama? I mean, skateboarding would be a tough one, but we're so good at skateboarding. Shout out
Yeah.
Tony Hawk if you want to come on the pod. It's like he versus Bob Burnquist in 1998. And now this thing is like, it's grown so it's only grown here. It's kind of like the world of poker. It's like it's largest here. I was trying to find those little pigeonhole sports where maybe we don't have as deep of a roster of people competing that I may be able to slide in as an alternate. Where, I mean, artistic swimming is not it, but Chris doing a marathon of a run, walk, run, I feel like you got a chance. And Eve having a long history with field hockey, she probably has a better chance than both of us.
True. True.
Okay, so here's my next question for us, Chris. Let's say they were going to create an Olympic sport of something you were good at. What do you think you could make the podium of? Like, for me, it's drinking at lunch. That is, I'm like top 5 in the world at that.
Flatulence.
Yeah, you are a gassy human. That is true.
I think I could do real good. I don't know what the rules would have to be. Like, I don't know if we're going for like, I think it's going to be like a judge's thing, like smell and then noise,
And
sound,
link, and then you're
linger,
DQ'd if
linger.
you shart. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like a penalty. It's like no, you actually fell off the balance beam. It's like, well, I see a little streak in your underwear there.
Sure, that's not a
Everyone,
fart.
yeah, they're like everyone's wearing like Calvin Klein whitey tidies while you just sit there, like, and the judges are all wearing goggles to avoid pink eye. That's not a bad one. Eve, if there was something you're good at besides just staying in your apartment, what would your Olympic sport that you could definitely podium?
You guys are gross. You make me want to throw up.
I didn't
Some,
say anything gross.
you both are disgusting.
I actually used the proper term. I said flatulence. That was pretty respectful.
Uh-huh. Um, I don't know, maybe like
Kind of like the
thrifting.
spelling bee. Thrifting. Oh, are you good at finding the deals?
I think so. I think I'm good at finding stuff.
What
What's
would
the
what would the thrifting sport look like? What would be the rules and
Mm.
scored?
You have to find like the best bang for buck. Like when you go to look up the value, like it's almost like Antiques Roadshow. Who can have the largest differential? So she's like, I bought this copper pot for $1.50 at an estate sale. And they're like, well, actually, this was Hitler's urn. It's worth $500,000. And then Eve wins for that gap of $499,000.
Where did the Hitler urn come into play there?
I was thinking of like Bert Kreischer or Tom
Uh,
Segura bought that tea kettle and he was like, it was not cheap. He was like, it was not cheap at all. And so I was trying to think of something that would be like that Antiques Roadshow. Like they did that one for the Oyster Rolex for the Vietnam vet. And he was like, yeah, I've had this thing. I bought it for $350 when I got back from the war. I had never worn it because I didn't want to mess it up. And they're like, sir, this thing's worth $750,000. And he's
Sweet.
like, he like drops to his knees. He's like, I'm going to be able to buy, a new house and all these other things. I think thrifting's a good answer, E.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
Do you have an example of success and something that maybe is dawning in your house that you could brag about a little bit?
I mean, I found a pair of like hiking Nook boots that were like $12 and they were like brand new Merrill hiking boots. That was
Okay,
a
so
rush. That felt good.
she's like, you ever tried drugs? It's just like that.
It is. It's like a reward. That's why I keep going back because just what was it, endorphins. I'm just like, yeah, got these hiking boots for $12. And I just keep going back.
She's trying to chase that buzz
Not,
again,
Yeah.
Chris. We've seen this
yeah.
before.
Not to bring up maybe a sore subject, Eve, but all this talk about sports got me thinking, what's the status on your tennis game?
There is no status. There is no
That-
tennis game.
that
As
dude
Kip has not
ruined-
played
that-
me.
That dude ruined someone trying to come into the sport, man.
He's a gatekeeper, and I have messed up, Eve, and I do apologize. I mean, I know you don't leave your house unless it's below 80 and above 50, so
True.
we'll have to definitely get out there this autumn, and maybe we do it after we record on Mondays. We just go out there as a team and knock the ball around for an hour, get you primed and ready for, intramurals in 2025.
Yeah. I mean, I still have the fucking racket, which I wouldn't have bought in the first place. But it's fine. I got it on clearance. It's all good.
Oh, look at that, another vintage find or thrifty find.
Yep.
I dig it. I dig it. All right. So, I guess that kind of wraps it up. Oh, I could guess one more thing I would probably get on the podium for losing vape pens. I swear to God, I lose
That's
5
true.
pens a week. Like, we get gifted cannabis. That's the only thing we take a lot of free product from. Like, we don't take free meals and shit. Oh my God. I can't explain how often I lose these things. It's driving me fucking crazy. Like my couch probably has 7 of them, but it's like tucked in between the seams and I can't find them on just like the casual look. The back seats of Ubers, sharing with people in public and forgetting to ask for them back. I mean, I oftentimes will leave the house with 2 pens and come back with 0 fucking pens.
You
I am
know,
probably the best at that.
we need to get you one of those little, those little things that you put on your belt that you hold like your key card on.
The
We need,
lighter leash.
yeah, we need to get you one of those, but make it adaptable to
That's not a bad idea. Or even an air tag so I could call my Uber driver and be like, turn around. Got a nice live rosin pen cartridge in there that I just paid $55 for. Please bring that home.
or maybe we just make you a little necklace. You can
Oh,
tuck
yeah.
it in the shirt.
Maybe get one of those like really cool people that go to concerts that do like the wire wrappings to do one that has a little pouch for my vape pen.
There you go.
I don't hate it. I don't hate it. Well, speaking of those little hippies and hipsters, let's dive into the things that are going on this weekend. Chris, I'll let you do the honors. I've been talking a lot.
Dude, yeah, right in my neighborhood, we got the 2024 Dragon Boat Festival. Uh,
Ooh, I love
dude,
this weekend. We killed
yeah,
it last year.
yeah, remember it was hot as fuck too last year. Um, but anyways, like a couple things to know about that. It goes Saturday and Sunday, beginning at 10, and the races actually start at 8 a.m. every day. But I guess like the festival, like the food vendors, the bands, all that stuff doesn't really start going until 10.
Okay, and yeah, you're right. I don't think this weekend's going to be too much different. It looks like it's going to be a barn burner on Friday or Saturday and Sunday. So I mean, not mid 90s. I would say come with either sunscreen on but shade protection. Like if you have a little umbrella and chairs, you can set up on one of the grassy knolls. It's
Yeah.
on the north side of Sloan's Lake. So like 25th Avenue right there. They have like 30 fucking food trucks, all sorts of different Asian bites. I mean, we probably put down like 2 pounds of bao buns and like 50 fucking dumplings last year, but the lines were fairly long. So you almost have to divide and then meet back in the middle. So everyone gets a little bit of something
Yeah.
different. And I
We
mean,
killed it.
mukja with the, oh, so good.
Dude, and yeah, and also the just a PSA, like you can't park around the lake at all. So I think I like if I was interested in going and didn't live in the area, I'd check out the website because I think they tell you like where they have parking and stuff.
Okay. And that's just Dragon Boat. Just Google Dragon Boat Festival. It's awesome. I don't think there's a better place to eat this weekend than to get the hodgepodge of like, 6 or 7 different little spots. You can bip and bop around.
Yeah, and there's like food vendors, not I mean there's a bunch of local ones like Mukja, Pho King Rapido, Zo Mama, like I saw their names on the vendor list, but they also bring in places from across the country.
Oh yeah, last year we were eating bao buns from that company out of Phoenix that did the big chasu bao buns that
Yeah.
were like they were shaped in like pigs and bees. It's family friendly. The competitions are a hoot, but there's more, and then there's obviously things like turkey legs and like meats on sticks, kind of like carnival food as well, and games and activities galore. Like
Yeah.
it's a great little weekend festival. Thoroughly recommend. Great call. Well, while Chris is doing that, I will actually be there with him. But there's something else going on, and it's for those that love the music scene, in particular the local music scene. It's the Underground Music Showcase going down this week on Broadway, along Broadway. All of the bars get together and do fun little small one-off concerts. Some are free admission, some maybe like $3 or $5. But there's big bands playing on all the offshoots of the main drag. So like right there in front of Punch Bowl and Mac Fam, there will be a stage. 2 blocks down, right there, kind of like at Ellsworth or something of that nature, there's another stage. And so they have events going constantly throughout. And then all the bars and like the restaurants have specials as well as private shows and things of that nature. And it's just a hoot and a holler. It goes Friday through Sunday. And I'm going to try to go down maybe on Friday, Chris, go day one, and then take day two and go to the Dragon Boat Festival. So I'm going to be down there Friday. I do not have COVID despite my sneezing earlier. Got this goddamn fan pointing right in my face. But it's going to be awesome. You can get tickets on the website. They have weekend long passes. I think you can get day passes as well. They have alcoholic beverages inside the gates. They have non-alcoholic beverages. Last year, Topo had like a whole booth. It was killing it. And obviously, Mac Fam is slinging dank ass snacks. The Hornets in play. I mean, Punch Bowl's a party as well.
Yeah.
The whole strip of South Broadway Baker District is just shut down for live music, good times with good people. And I just can't recommend them enough.
Yeah, it is a super cool event. And it's fun how like some of the little bars and restaurants will have like a couple guys playing in there, like, like 2 or 3 people playing some music. So that's cool.
Yeah, and you can go to type in the UMS or Underground Music Showcase, and you can see the lineup and schedule for each of the 3 days. So if you're like, oh, I kind of want to check out this band or I've heard of them, you can kind of tailor your weekend experience around what bar they may be in or what you may be craving. I thoroughly recommend MacFam. And if you're going through on the midday, a Saturday or Sunday, you can double clip and try out their brunch, which I have not done, but I've heard wonderful things. So, I mean, it's a
Eve, are you
win-win.
gonna go?
What?
Are you gonna go check out some music? Go to Ums?
No.
Okay. Love it.
Yeah. Well, last but not least, I think this has become a Wednesday tradition of us recording a little later because I've been doing the food competitions out at King of Wings, not participating, just covering. It's called the Beat the Meat Challenge. We spoke about it briefly last week. This week, The kitchen won every single competition. People came in for the 11 spot, the 13, the 14, the 15, and the 16. And multiple people tried different patties just because when one person falters, somebody else can step up and try that burger. Nobody was able to beat any of them. So the kitchen went 6 for 6, I think, today in competition. But it's a vibe every Wednesday in Golden at King of Wings. They do the Snipe Burger Beat the Meat Challenge. And even if you're not a competitor or a gluttonous eater, you can still just go in and get a wonderful sandwich. That's what I've been doing. I get 2 patties, a side of French fries, and I sit there and watch the action unfold. It's
And
hysterical.
can you still get wings too?
Not on Wednesdays,
Not
every
on
other day.
Wednesdays.
Yeah, and they have great. Oh, you can obviously get wings at their Wheat Ridge location,
Yeah.
but their Golden location is doing burgers only on Wednesdays.
I'm gonna
Um,
I need to roll up there with you next week. Also, dude, I thought that cat that was going for 16 today, I thought he had it.
Man, he was talking. Shout out to Big Lou. He was giving it his all, and then I feel like it's kind of. I can't speak from experience, but I've tried to do food eating competitions in the past, and it just doesn't bode well without eating a Xanax, where your stomach's not able to tell your brain that you're full. It just doesn't go like that. So I think that's the biggest problem, you know. And so if you go in there just like your body like shuts down after 10 or 12, it's like this ain't for me, you know?
Yeah. Dude, do you remember, speaking of like food eating things, do you remember how gross that oyster eating competition was?
Oh yeah, the High West Oyster Fest up in Boulder.
Oh,
Um, it was like watching 10 guys finger bang these oysters and just slug them back as quick as possible. And what about that couple that was just doing it for their own sake and they ate like 72? It's like, fuck. Reminds me of Acme Oyster House down in the South. Anybody,
yeah.
I think my brother's name is on the wall of their one just outside of Destin. Don't hold me to that, but I think so.
Ugh.
It's gross. But speaking of people that are machines and that are able to do it, we spoke with Joey Chestnut today and invited him to compete in the Beat the Meat Challenge because I'm fairly certain nobody, at least locally, is going to be able to eat a 30 rack. And he was like, I'll do it, but I want buns for the burgers because I enjoy eating the hamburgers. And so I told Eddie and Evan, and they were like, "Oh fuck yeah!" So Joey Chestnut's coming out in October. We're going to have him compete in the Beat the Meat Challenge. Obviously, we'll touch base with his team, get all the details. Touch base with Eddie and Evan because maybe there is a local star out there that we don't know about that can eat 90 or 125 ounces of beef in 30 minutes because that's pretty much what you're doing.
How,
And I'm certain the glizzy goat, the throat goat, the captain and the king of the food scene, Joey Chestnut will be able to succeed.
how,
But when he was like, "Oh, I'll fucking do it," I was like, "Are you serious? Oh my god, I'll put you up in a fucking hotel just to watch you eat these Sammys." Like I was ecstatic.
how many do you think he can take down?
If there was like a prize, like Nathan's, I think throws a prize to the person that knocks down the most glizzies in 10 minutes. I bet you he could put down as many as you put in front of him. Realistically, if the limit was, we'll give you $200 for every pound of meat you eat or something like that, he would eat 20 pounds. You know, he would just eat as much as you give him the
Do you
opportunity. The guy's a fucking machine.
do you do you think you could do better in like a hot dog eating competition or a burger?
Me, probably a glizzy competition because I feel like you can just kind of like slide some of those down. The burgers are going to require like you can break those dogs in half, and I can kind of slide some like bites like Vienna sausage size just down my throat. The burgers kind of got a different texture where it may make it a little bit more difficult. And I don't know, man. The soggy bread always gives me the ick when watching those guys do the dunking because that's like one of the things I don't like about takeout sandwiches is the
Yeah,
integrity of the bread is gone by the end, by the
gross.
time you get it home. So the fact that these guys do it willingly and ladies as well, all of them would be difficult. I would not be competitive in either of them. I think I could be competitive in knocking back shots of tequila or Paloma, gator tails, or glasses of wine. Those would be the only things I could go like limb for limb with some folks.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a different breed. Like some of these folks looked at it and they're like, I got this. I look at that and I'm like, I already want to go home. And one of the competitors was throwing up outside today because
That
they
checks
pushed their
out.
body to the max. I'm surprised we haven't seen more vomiters, to be honest. But at the same time, it's still a family event. So they have the couth and they step away. But I was
Yeah.
like, God, I feel for that guy or girl.
It
Oof.
also could be a little late activation, maybe 30 minutes later they throw up. Who knows?
I mean, shout out to the guy that rode his bike out and tried to do the 13 last week. I felt for that guy, especially because he had to ride his bike home. His exact reply was, I took the road with the least amount of hills. Oh, man. Well, let's go out there and eat to our heart's content this weekend. We hope everyone has a safe, sunny, and fun weekend here in the Mile High City or in the Rocky Mountains. Until next week, y'all stay high, stay hungry.
Dragon Boat Festival.
Dumplings.
Olympics, cheers!
Cheers.